So we'll move on to the agenda to number 9, and then we have a public comment from Carlos.
Okay. This has got another item on the agenda, our Planning Commission agenda, amendments to the Code of Ordinances, Part 2, Unified Development Code, Chapters 100 through 900. Staff? Who wants to grab it?
I think you just call up.
Yeah, we can
Carlo?
close this.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I don't think y'all need to hear I think everyone was here for the first one, so I don't think you need to repeat. Anyway, I'm gonna concentrate on one particular part of the proposed amendments, which I have a serious problem with. I think that, and that's the billboards, the size of the billboards. And those of us who have been around for a long time, remember, over the years, there's been a lot of discussion about size of billboards. And there's been a lot of discussion about reducing the size of billboards. And so I'm very concerned about the proposal to go from 400 feet up to, and then the 300 feet for the lesser, for those that are less, and changing that. Also, what I would hope that you would recommend to the parish council is to leave the 400 and the 300 alone. Leave those alone, and change the lighting. That I understand, but all and the other amendments that you have considered, I'm not going to say anything about those because I agree with those. So the key though is the size of the billboards. I don't know, except if you're in the billboard industry, I don't know who is proposing to have, these billboards of this size. I mean, generally, the size of billboards are hopefully coming down either by way of regulations, or most people who are driving own a cell phone. They also have many vehicles that have screens on them right now. I mean, you just don't, billboards are not something, maybe 20 years ago, there was something that, people, that's how they gained their, were the advertisements out. But today, under today's situation, with cell phones, screens, computer screens, I really don't see that as being something as it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago. It's just not the case anymore. So I think it's rather, let's just say, I don't agree with trying to increase the size of billboards. And so I would hope that you would maintain the 400 and the 300 and make the other suggestions that you have already. So I hope that you will consider keeping that, the billboard size the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlos. All right, Newland, Nell?
All right, how are y'all doing? Long evening. I did want to just kind of walk through the edits that we talked about. So we went through and
Whoa, wait.
Oh.
I wanted you to specifically respond to the billboard section.
Great.
And what the decision-making
So
process.
she didn't have anything to do with that.
Oh, okay.
So-
I'm not sure who to point, but
So if I'm not mistaken, that these standards match the city of Covington and Jefferson Parish. So that's kind of where we use the standards from.
but you kept new billboards to 300.
We're looking into that.
And in what way?
In what way? We're researching to find out if that was a mistake the way it was written. So we're either going to correct it to a size that's different from 300, or we're going to leave it at 300.
So is 300 no longer doable for a billboard?
Again, we're looking it up and we're gonna give you a good answer. So if you can ask me, several more times, I'm gonna give you the same answer.
Well, I don't understand how we're going to vote on this.
That's totally fine. I totally understand that too, but I don't have the answer.
Can we pull this one out until we get more information?
Absolutely.
That's what I would suggest is
So
we're waiting for more information on item 6.
So this is what I was going to do. Agree with you for the current time. By the time that we go through the amendments to make sure we're starting at the beginning and go to the end, since this is the last one, we may have that information for you before we end the night. So we either can discuss it when we get to the end, if I have the information, and if I don't, then we'll just scrap it for now and bring it back later.
Works for me.
Yeah. All right, cool. So then I'll bring Alex back up in case. We'll go from the beginning and come back. Aaron's doing some research.
That's great. And I think too, in terms of scrapping, you could limit the size, the first part of it too, because I think that's the piece that's in question is the size limitations, and maybe consider leaving the lighting and the other elements that I think we're more in agreement on, so that you still carry forward some of the elements that are consistent with industry standards. Just to recap, we were discussing and we kind of got through most of the edits. The last couple ones were related to engineering and public works. I think Ted had addressed those. If y'all wanted to go back into that, we could, or I could just kind of recap the pieces that y'all had spoke to that you wanted to amend, just to kind of recap those elements. It's really up to y'all. Yeah? Okay.
Which way you want to go?
Is that the quickest way?
Huh?
The quickest way.
Recap?
Recap, okay.
All
Good.
right. So we're going to make sure that we update the height requirements in I-1, I-2, I-3 to be consistent with previous amendments, but also carry forward that 65-foot height in I-3. We're going to make that correction to I-1 to I-3 within the I-1.
I don't know that was addressing I-1.
I reread it and looked at it. It should be I-3. I-3. Yeah, I went and checked it while we were. It was kind of nice to have the recess so we could look at these things. And then, let's see. So with the billboards, I think the idea is you can leave as is that first portion, which is the size of the billboards, or you can scrap the whole thing. Right, so quick. And then there was a suggestion related to the aisle width related to measurements for parking, which was for those that are 0 to 15 degrees, 16 to 37 degrees, and on up into the 75-degree parking angle, that the aisle widths be a minimum of 15 feet instead of 12. I'm assuming, Commissioner Transkowsko, that you meant for 38 to 57 degrees, keep that from 13 to 15, but retain the 58 degrees to 74, retain the 18-foot aisle width. Like, we wouldn't want to shrink that. All right, I'm following you. I did speak with engineering in between, and I think we may want to discuss in more detail adding additional information related to curbing the, I want to say the right word, the radius. Because there are some implications about whether that curb is flatter or if it's higher. And there are some implications that I think we would want to work with engineering at a future date, just to make sure we understand all those implications. But I think we understand what you're saying, where we're curbing the median at 5 inch and 8 inches, which is a high curb, a barrier curb, versus the radiuses of the driveway. And the radius is where you're saying, let's curb that. What we don't want to do, I think, is have a high curb that we're having to constantly repair. So what the slope of that curve should look like. We did talk a little bit about a rollover curb. I think we don't know exactly what the standard should be for that, but we've noted that this is something that we could come back to.
You want to ask me a question so I can respond?
Yes. Do you have an idea of what the rollover curve would be?
I suggested to you is to drive down Sharp Road in unincorporated Vanderbilt and look at each of the entrances to the subdivisions.
Yeah.
And I would highlight for you to look at Brentwood Estates to see exactly what not what it should not be, okay? And then look at the other subdivision entrances to see how it should be.
Okay. So we have some good practices and some bad practices. We
Yes.
like that.
Spikes behind the curb, Only do it once.
And I think that was really it. I think the edits were really on the I-3, revisiting the billboard size,
Yes.
and the aisle widths, which I think is a good edit across the board. If anyone else has any questions, or if Ross has figured out the size,
We've got three
not
folks,
that quick.
we've got three folks on the board here, so,
Oh, perfect. I'll be quiet. and
Okay.
y'all can
John?
your thing.
Yeah, I just want to take this moment to say that Ross, obviously size matters when related to billboards. So, yeah, I mean, I didn't want to pass it up. So it's I wanted to ask though, did the change in size, was it related to some kind of standardization of the billboards, like, you know, for the digital signage and everything? Is it of a standard size that we're trying to accommodate?
Yes.
Okay, so I echo my former colleague, Mr. Hernandez's comments about, you know, let's not, in this case, bigger is not better. I think you can be too big, and we don't want to have. I mean, and I don't think Jefferson is a standard that we want to. Jefferson Parish is a standard we want to adopt in beautiful St. Tammany either. So
Yeah, and that's why,
yeah.
I mentioned the city of Covington, because
Yeah.
they did update the billboard standards when then Mayor Cooper was in office, and they made these changes. So if there was a, I can't think of the word right now, we just copied and pasted incorrectly, or, you know, didn't use the right number or hit the wrong button, whatever, could have took place. So we're just
Yeah.
trying to figure that out. But you will let
So
me know.
can I make a motion to just take it out, and until you guys can do some research and figure it out?
Yeah, so let me ask this too. Of our current code is 300 the size of our current code? Now Helen knows. All right, so Helen's current size is the 300, so that's for a new one. For the old ones, they were saying, I don't have it in front of my papers over there, it was 472-ish. That could go up to 600 if they were replaced.
400 to 672,
400 to 672.
and 300 could go up to 378.
Yeah, let's pull it out for now, make sure that
Yeah.
our number's correct.
Uh,
and then
I
we'll
make
bring
a-
it back.
I make a motion to remove that item from the UDC agenda.
Just to clarify, are we removing all of number 6 or just the size of the billboards within 6?
All of number six. All of number 6.
All of 6, okay.
Okay, you've got a motion and a second to remove all of number 6. We need to get a vote. Please vote.
Who seconded? Mr. McKinney. Okay. I'm missing one vote. Motion to remove item number 6 carries.
All right, Renee, you're up next.
Well, it just makes it easier because I had made the motion earlier to accept all the changes, but we're taking 6 out, so now we can still go with that motion that I had originally. But I was just curious. The billboard that you drive on Interstate 10 going to Mississippi, what's the size of those big old billboards? I'm just curious because that's a big billboard.
Well, those
So
are
that's
double-
not the size that we,
In St. Tammany Parish or somewhere else?
no, like if you're driving an interstate going to Mississippi, those big billboards that are,
Those are basically double boards.
In Mississippi?
yes.
Yeah.
I was just curious, the
You got
size.
one
I'm
or
trying
more?
to
Yeah,
imagine.
We can research that too.
No. I just, because if it's anything like that, that makes no sense at all. Yeah.
So look,
Yeah.
what we
Okay.
do, that's a great question for context.
Yeah.
So we know kind of what we're talking about. So we'll look at it
Okay.
and bring it back. So
Appreciate that.
I'd love to be able to use that as context.
Okay.
Commissioner Seeger.
I'll second the motion to amend, accept the amendments.
Okay. We got a motion and a second to accept the amendments verbalized, right? Right? All right, please vote.
Motion to accept the amendments as verbalized carries.
I'd also like to thank
Up,
You wanna-
I will fix that as well, because it's a lot on.
We have to come out of recess now, don't we?
You have to adjourn the planning commission meeting first. Yeah, so. Need a
all right, that's got all the items on the planning commission agenda, huh?
We need to adjourn the meeting.
So we need to adjourn the planning commission meeting. Okay? Yeah, we don't actually need a vote on the adjournment, but now we do need to go back to the zoning commission and adjourn it.
And take it out of recess.
Take it out of recess.
Yeah.
Recess.
Okay. Not a recess.
All right? Motion to come out of recess on the zoning. Second. We got a second. Please vote.
Motion to resume the zoning commission carries.
Okay?
Who voted the second on that, sir?
Yeah, John.
We have to do another motion to remove item number 6.
No, we did that. Okay? This would just be a motion to adjourn the zoning.
No. Yeah.
Motion to recommend approval of all items except for item 6.
Okay. In a second.
Yeah, it is.
So I make a motion to remove item 6 from the UDC agenda, and then a motion to approve all of the amendments
Second.
per comments.
Second, okay. All right, I got still people up, Troncoso,
Well, I just have a comment, I don't want to beat a dead horse.
turn your mic on.
If the voters of this, St. Tammany Parish vote to have casino gaming, then we want the largest billboards there'll be, like they have in Mississippi. The other, excuse me, one more thing. It's relevant relative to the replacement of a billboard. We live in South Louisiana, and we have hurricanes. And the first things that go are billboards and signs and traffic signs, et cetera. So it's a very relevant thing to think in terms of what the replacements would be. So, that's very important. So I'm finished beating a dead horse here. I'm
Another
ready
great
to.
point, though, Mr. Tronco, so yeah.
What, huh?
No, another good point, so.
Yes.
Commissioner Arsamont.
I'd like to vote yes on the casinos, but also, no, seriously. Sorry. I'd just like to second the motion that Mr. Gaines made. That's what I was doing.
Okay. Nell?
Second, but I will echo Commissioner Seeger on thanking the staff and for all y'all's leadership in and dotting all the i's and crossing the t's.
Okay.
Okay, let's get out
All
of
right.
here.
Now we need a vote.
Please vote.
The motion to remove item number 6 and approve the amendments as verbalized carries.
All right. That doesn't take a vote.
A motion to adjourn.
Yeah, it doesn't take a vote, so.